There are so many things about mountains that combine to create a mysterious, yet powerful sense of holiness. They command the landscape around them, and naturally bring a feeling of wonder to those who see them from far or near. Be it the dazzling show by a storm that engulfs the great peaks with a show of lightning, or the ability to touch the clouds when upon a mountain, or simply the imposing heights that make everything else look so insignificant in comparison. It is in this way that people are drawn to mountains from near and far as sacred places. Mountains around the world have emerged in many cultures and religions as a symbol of varied cultures' hopes, traditions, and beliefs. Sacred mountains can be defined as having well-established networks of myths, beliefs, and religious practices like pilgrimage, meditation, and sacrifice. Also, a mountain may be considered sacred because of a sacred site that is on it or near it. Examples of these could include a cave, monastery, temple, bush, or stones. Other reasons given for the significance of mountains are that they are close to heaven and therefore where gods live. Or in some cultures, it is seen as the pathway to the top of the mountain as a symbolic journey. This is why mountains in some cultures are seen as a symbol of their highest spiritual goals. In Greek mythology, the sacred mountain of significance is Mount Olympus. It was regarded as the home of the Greek gods and the site of Zeus's throne. The mountain is noted for frequent and dramatic storms with much thunder and lightning amongst the peaks of the mountain, which fittingly Zeus is deity of. It is thought that the gods and goddesses did not live upon Mount Olympus, but it was just understood to symbolize the power of the sacred mountain. This drew monks and hermits to live in the area long before Christian times. Mount Kenya is another sacred mountain. It is the highest mountain in Kenya. The tribespeople that lived near the mountain believed that God could only come to earth in a place of absolute and divine purity. The top of Mount Kenya had a glacier, and it is believed by the people the white snow and ice symbolized just this purity. They believed the peak was the home of their god Nagai, who had created the first man and his wife. To this day, the mountain remains a strong cultural symbol and source of inspiration to the people. In times of drought, the people face Mount Kenya to ask Nagai for rain. This is a tradition dating back to pre-Christian times. The sacred power of Mount Kenya in the society is exemplified by a modern-day pilgrimage by an elder tribe member. This member, dressed in sandals and a single blanket and without any other equipment, climbed to 17,025 feet in a journey he described as simply going to God. He was rescued by a team of climbers who claimed that his reaching that height and living to tell about it was simply amazing. Mount Kailash is located in the Himalayas in Tibet. This is a sacred place to four Eastern perspectives: Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, and the Bon faith. The mountain is considered to be so sacred to the Buddhist and Hindu beliefs that there are no recorded attempts to climb it. Mount Kailash is the most significant peak in the world not to have seen any climbing attempts. For the Hindu religion, Mount Kailash is regarded as the home of Shiva. Shiva sits in constant meditation here, smoking ganja and making love to Parvati. These actions are not seen as negative by followers, as they see this as a deity who has cleverly woven extremes into a way of being. According to many sects of Hinduism, Mount Kailash is considered paradise, the center of the spiritual world, and therefore a destination of souls. Mount Kailash has a rich history of pilgrimage that goes back thousands of years. Only a few thousand a year make it, as the mountains in far western Tibet, there are no planes, trains, or buses that even get close. The weather is cold and unpredictable. Also, there are no stores to stock up at, so you must carry all that you need. After the tough journey there, the walk around the base of the mountain is seen as a holy ritual, and some pilgrims believe that this should be made in one day. The journey around is approximately 32 miles. The circumnavigation made in a clockwise motion for the Buddhists and the Hindus religion. For the followers of Jainism and the Bon religion, they go around the base in a counterclockwise direction. The ones who are in shape and do accomplish this feat in one day can do it in 15 hours. But it normally takes 3 days. Another group prescribes the technique of bending down, stretching out full length, rising to one's knees, praying, and then crawling forward the length of your body for the entire 32 miles around the base of Mount Kailash. With this method, it is said to take a minimum of 4 days to accomplish, but can be as long as 2 to 3 weeks. An interesting side note: in Tibet, the word for pilgrimage is nekor, and its meaning is to circle around a sacred place. The importance of the journey is seen as a transforming one from ignorance to enlightenment. As far as a pilgrim is concerned, they view Mount Kailash itself as a temple that houses the deity, and they view it as the center of the universe. Jainism, Hinduism, and Buddhism also reference another sacred mountain, but it has to be highlighted that this is a mythical place. The name is Mount Meru. It is a symbol of the highest point in the spiritual cosmos from which creation can be contemplated. It is important to mention Mount Meru with Mount Kailash, as some people believe the two are the same mountain. Another sacred mountain linked to Buddhism is Vulture's Peak. It is located in northeast India. It is said that the Buddha went here 16 years after his enlightenment to start the second turning of the Wheel of Dharma. On Vulture's Peak there still remains a monastery that are occupied by meditators and Buddhist saints. Vulture's Peak is considered home to one of the 16 Buddhist saints. He resides here guarding the doctrine of Buddhism. Interestingly, around Vulture's Peak there is also a temple built recently by Japanese Buddhists. There are 4 golden statues of the Buddha that show his 4 great actions: birth, enlightenment, teaching, and passing away. This area is also a significant site of pilgrimage for followers from all over the world. Mount Tai is located in the Shandong province of China. It is considered one of the 5 sacred mountains of Taoism, and the most sacred peak since the 3rd millennium BC. Its nickname is the first mountain under heaven. Mount Tai was also a place of religion for Buddhism around 350 BC. Mount Tai has an extremely rich history in which human settlement has been proven back to 10,000 BC. The sacredness of Mount Tai is emphasized throughout history and summed up nicely by the saying, "If Mount Tai is stable, so is the entire country." What makes Mount Tai so significant is the presence of a very detailed history that has been kept on 819 stone tablets and 1,018 cliffside stone inscriptions. Combine this with 22 temples and close to 100 ruins that are Mount Tai, and it's easy to comprehend why so many people do visit. Religious worship at Mount Tai has a history of 3,000 years. As time progressed, the emperor came to Mount Tai to ceremonially acknowledge heaven at the summit and earth at the base of the mountain. 72 emperors have come to Mount Tai, as this is where it was believed they received authority to rule the people through grand ceremonies. During these pilgrimages by emperors, the mountain drew large numbers of followers, and this was recorded on the stone tablets, a line where people would be from bottom to top, a distance of 6 miles. Mount Tai, unlike Mount Kailash, is a very popular destination that is very convenient to reach. Once there, visitors can walk the distance in anywhere from 2 to 6 hours, or take a bus and then a cable car to the summit. Millions of people a year walk the 7,200 steps to the top, which is known as the Stairway to Heaven. Besides the spiritual aspect, legend has it that those who do climb Mount Tai would live to be 100 years old. Mountains of the Western Perspective Religions. Mount Sinai is significant to 3 world religions: Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. There is a debate to this day about the actual location of it, which includes different descriptions that leave several locations on the Sinai Peninsula as possibilities. Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Egypt all claim to have found Mount Sinai within their countries. However, Egypt's Mount Sinai is most visited. It is thought by some that Mount Sinai and Mount Horeb are different names for the same place, while another group argues that they are different locations. Interestingly, Mount Sinai is not the largest peak in elevation area, and that is explained as why God chose it after he found out it was the lowest mountain. In its biblical description, it suggests that Mount Sinai was a volcano. The claim being, the arrival of God on the mountain was the cause of the fire and clouds. In one account, God arrived with 22,000 archangels, 22,000 divine chariots, and to make them all fit on the mountain, God expanded it. This is the location Moses was commanded to lead his people out of bondage in Egypt, and to bring them there. Another significant location here in the Abrahamic tradition is Moses' cave, which he was summoned by God to receive the laws for mankind on 2 stone tablets. Here he waited for 40 days and 40 nights for the 10 Commandments, and received precise instructions for the construction of the Ark of the Covenant, to hold the 2 tablets. At the base of Mount Sinai there is the monastery of St. Catherine that has been in continuous operation since 330 AD. The monastery is reported as the site of the burning bush from where Jesus